This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
Dave Garrick with Atlas Screen Supply.
This is David Gross with Condi Systems.
Jimmy Lamb with Sawgrass.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys
podcast.
Hosted by Aaron Montgomery
and Terry Combs.
Ad lib here.
Well, welcome to the show, everyone. It's Friday, August 10th, 2018. I'm Terry Combs with Equipment Zone, and you can also find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at aaronmontgomery.info. Today, Terry and I are going to be on our own today. This is going to be a lot of fun, having a chance just you and I to chat. We don't do that a ton, so this is good. We're going to talk about how to build your existing business or the foundation pieces of business in general. So obviously a topic that I'm always passionate about, you're always passionate about. So this is going to be a great talk today.
Yeah, like the old days where when we first started, and we spent most of our time just talking to each other about business and decorating and things like that. So looking forward to doing this today. But Aaron, do you have any news items?
I do. In fact, we got quite a bit of news here today. So let's get through that here quickly. First thing that I saw was Ryanette has named the Print for Positivity contest winners. The contest we talked about previously on a show. The contest encourages screen printers to show how they pay it forward and give back to their community with their business. The company named the following winners. First place was Steve Steele. Second place was Kyle, never going to get this, Zavinik. And third place was Latrice Collins. So I probably butchered all of them probably, but there we go. There's your winners. We'll have a link to the article about all that. And congratulations to those folks. Some interesting, you have to go read the article, Terry. They're the folks that won. They have some pretty interesting businesses doing some really awesome, cool things for their communities. So good stuff there. What about you, Terry?
You know, Aaron, as I was glancing through the show notes early this morning, I saw Kyle's name there, and I thought, man, you always do that to yourself. You always. and my second thought was Steve Steele. Which superhero is he?
Steve Steele. Yeah, indeed. Well, it sounds like they're all doing some superhero kind of work.
Yeah, so absolutely, absolutely,
good stuff for sure.
And certainly Ryanette has become a leader in giving back to the community for sure. So, Aaron, speaking of giving, Blue Moon Promotional has launched a GoFundMe page for one of their employees' families. Their statement is the recent passing of Wilson Rees, director of social media at Blue Moon Promotional in Eastlake, Ohio, has left his family in dire straits, and says that Rees passed away on July 10th after battling stage 4 colon cancer. And he passed away one day before his 21st wedding anniversary. The campaign aims to help Reed's family with living expenses and funeral costs. They have a goal of $30,000. Reed's is survived by his wife, Tina, and daughter, Taylor. And we will have up on our website if anybody'd like to contribute to that GoFundMe account for one of our fellow decorators out there in the industry who has passed away.
Yeah, definitely a very good opportunity to give back for all of us to give back. I know I'll be heading over there today to put a little money in there myself.
Yeah, me as well.
So it's GoFundMe.com/Wilson-Reyes, REYES-fund. But again, we'll have a link on our show notes as well as through our social media and whatnot. So, and that's Pierre Jamnicki's company over there, Terry. So, nice of Pierre to be part of that. Obviously, that's a big loss for them and their company. So our thoughts and prayers go out to all of them. I guess we're going to continue on with news here, Terry. We're not the greatest of news today, but stuff we need to make sure people are thinking about. The California wildfires are impacting promo firms. This is from ASI's magazine. The nearly 20 wildfires were burning in California as of midweek, disrupting the business operations and personal lives of some promo professionals in the Golden State. The another one that I'm not going to be able to pronounce, the Mendocino complex fire alone has grown into the largest wildfire in California history. So again, our thoughts and good thoughts for them to be able to recover quickly, and everybody stay safe over there. And in that situation, we'll have a link to some more details on that in the show notes there.
All
And then
right.
maybe some not so bad news, but
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
good
On a
announcement
positive
here.
note.
Yeah.
Workhorse Products and my disclaimers. I teach screen printing classes there. They're offering a remote press access through a web portal, and this is something I've had a demo on. It's pretty cool that through an internet browser, shops can access all critical functions on Workhorse screen printing presses from offsite locations. So hey, you go into SGIA in Las Vegas through your tablet, you can look and see what's happening on the press. The web portal links to the tablet control panel on the presses and displays jobs in queue, production, paused, and finished. The remote access portal also allows decorators to access key specifications like artwork, job colors, print and flood strokes, ink types, all kinds of things like that. And additionally, the portal provides the ability to set up jobs, troubleshoot problems, and monitor progress. It's a new world on the production floor, Aaron. You
Definitely.
you're not disconnected when you walk out the door.
You can't just walk away anymore. All right. Well, that's good or bad. I'm not real sure, but
I wonder if a little red light goes on though. Well, the boss is at SGIA, and a little red light goes on the panel. Hey, he's watching. Speed it up.
Well, there you go. We got to make that happen. So good on Workhorse to continue to grow into the digital age here.
Absolutely.
In an analog world that they live in. So good stuff. Real quick, we got a couple people checking in already. We got Rich. Hello. Good morning. Good to see you. And then Christine Shreve. Good morning to you. And our own Eric Campbell checking in this morning. Good morning, everyone. So looking forward to having everybody's feedback, comments, and whatnot going on today. But I want you to stay tuned to the end of the show for It's 5 Things. I've got a list of 5 things I'll be sharing. Basically, to me, what I feel like are short-sighted views of business that you need to stop doing immediately. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to
hearing
people's feedback on that. Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, we want to thank everybody for listening for these past 6 years. We're well into our 6th season. We always try to avoid the rants and lecturing, and we would love to have you visit our webpage, which is 2 regularguys.com. Check out the show notes from previous podcasts with lots of great links and additional information. And we are always looking for suggestions for future shows. So you can do that through our Contact Us page at 2 Regular Guys, or as always, we're all over social media and always at the number 2 Regular Guys. If you're watching us live right now on Facebook, we would love to have your comments, insights, questions, contribute to this show today. We'd love to have your insights on growing your business. And Aaron, before we do that though, let's hear a word from SGIA about the upcoming SGIA Expo.
Sounds great.
Hi, this is SGIA's Dan Marks, inviting you to attend the SGI Expo in Las Vegas this October. We're going to show you what's on the horizon, with more than 500 exhibitors showing the latest in dye sub, screen, embroidery, DTG, and more. We have 72 educational sessions, including a garment decoration track, and a special luncheon just for garment decorators. Registration is free through September 19th. Learn more at sgia.org/expo2rg.
And that's the most important part, Expo 2RG. So the folks at SGIA know that you heard about it through our show. And gosh, every time Dan starts talking, I feel like I'm slow dancing at the junior prom, with that, with the musical choice.
I think you should go up and ask Dan for a dance when you see him.
I might very well do that.
He's great. In fact, we're going to be talking to Dan next week, doing a webinar with him. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that towards the end of the show. But definitely get over there. I was trying to get the SGI website up on the screen here, but for some reason the sharing of screen function is not working right now. So
something in the internet air today. As you know, Aaron, about 1 minute before we went on the air, my screen froze completely. And you're texting me going, "Hey, coming back?"
Hey, buddy, how you around? I don't know if you know this show thing. I don't know. This is new for us. We've only been doing it for 6 years. All right.
Yeah.
Well, should we dive in here, Terry? I think we're going to have a lot of fun and cover a lot of ground here. So are you ready?
Let's jump in.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off and just kind of give everybody a kind of a little description of what we're going to talk about here today. As I mentioned earlier, this is kind of back to the roots of where all this started. Two regular guys. We kind of came up with this idea to have this weekly podcast. I don't know. It was more of just to me, it was more just for us. We spent a lot of time working together and spent a lot of time in the same city, going to bars after work and kind of having the business discussion, whatever. We discussed a lot of things, but occasionally there was some business in there, and we
Right.
we had a chicken wing in one hand, beer in the other hand, and going back and forth and having a good old time.
Right.
So that's kind of where all this started. And, and then when, I moved away to St. Louis, we're like, how are we going to keep this going? We always had a great time with all these discussions. We started doing this, and that's evolved obviously into, we have been honored to have great guests all the time. But very rarely do we get a chance to do this. So I was really excited when we had this opportunity to just, you and I have a nice conversation about things that, I think, are important for people. And I think you mentioned this, and we've talked about it maybe before, is, these are things that people that are new businesses need to be doing. These are things that people that have existing businesses need to be doing. These are things that people should go back and refocus on. Maybe they have a very successful business, but they always need to be kind of working on the foundation pieces of their business. I don't know, Terry, if you've ever watched the show Barnwood Builders.
I have. Yeah.
Mark Bow. It's one of my favorite shows. I enjoy watching that, and they always talk about the sill logs and the foundation pieces, and they have a log that's rotting out, and then that affects the whole rest of the building. One little area of this log in the bottom, that's the foundation piece, that starts rotting out, and next thing you know, the entire building is ruined without any way of really fixing it, unless you go back and fix those foundation pieces. So to me, that's what we're really talking about today, Terry. I know we're going to cover some specific topics, but that's my take on it. So what's your take on today's show, Terry?
Well, yeah, and this is something that I experienced myself, and when I have people come to my classes, more often than not, I'll have, and I'm specifically speaking about screen printing classes, but more often than not, there's some number of those folks who have been in business for a year, sometimes 5 years, and they come to the class not only to learn about the the mechanics of screen printing and how to do it better, but they also come to talk about running a business, and I get a lot of, okay, I started the business, now what? And so I think that's kind of what we're talking about. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is, building a business means we have already started, and that could be anything from having 50 employees to running a business out of your dining room on nights and weekends. But Aaron, let me throw out the first question for you. Okay. Do we need to take a good look at ourselves and businesses first before we begin to build?
Well, absolutely. And, I think you hit it right there. You've started your business. You threw the open sign out there, and amazingly, not everybody ran in and flooded your store. So
you didn't build a perfect mousetrap?
No. But, and I think that's where this part comes in. You asked, do we need to take a good look at ourselves? And I think that is probably one of the most important things to do when you are talking about the foundation of your business, is to have that self-reflection, to really dig in, answer some of the hard questions about yourself, what you're good at, what your business is all about, what the why. I've talked many times on this show and every other places. One of my favorite authors is a guy by the name of Simon Sinek, and he has a book called Start With Why. It's a huge book, and that why is that self-reflection. Why are we doing this? Why did we start this business? It could be, in some cases, to help our community. It could be to be part of this. It could be to make money for my family, and because I'm passionate about my niche, the area that I'm targeting, that's my why. So I think it is extremely important. And I also think it's extremely important to not just have it be self-reflection, a time for you to really spend kind of thinking about your strengths and weaknesses. But you also need to kind of ask people to look at you from the outside looking in. So maybe your take on your business is that you're the best, you're the fastest there is, or something along those lines. Well, go ask people that aren't intimately involved with your business to look at your business from the outside looking in, and ask them their take without leading them into what you think your take is. Ask them their take, and then be a big enough person to take that criticism or take those things, and don't just go, oh, well, they don't know what our business is all about. Well, your customers don't specifically know what your business is all about, so they're going to likely see what this other person is seeing. And if that's not who you want to be, you need to figure out what changes you need to make. So one way that I've always done this, Terry, and I'll turn this over to you in just 1 second, is through a process called SWOT analysis. And it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Sounds like a big, crazy marketing term, but it really is actually just an easy process. I even have a little document that I'm willing to share with folks that kind of gives them some questions to ask, to kind of put it all together and just think about what it is that you're strong at, what it is that you're not so strong at, what your future opportunities are. This is the big, where do I want to be in 15 years? And what are the threats to your business? My favorite one for garment decorators is, what happens if we all turn into a nudist colony? There will be no more shirts needed. So there's a threat. Anyhow, now I'm off the rails. All right, Terry, what about you? What's your take? Hopefully I didn't take too much of your stuff.
No, and Aaron, what I see, and I deal with startup businesses all the time, through my direct to garment classes and my screen printing classes, is that just what you're talking about. Absolutely no focus. I hung out my shingle, and I'm so desperate for business. I am I'm the guy that does whatever you want to do. And at some point in time, you have to say, just like you said, what am I good at? What's gonna push my business up? And I'll give you an example. When I was in Kansas City, we were doing $13.5 million in screen printing, and that's a lot for some people. That's a little for other people, but our average order size was 72 pieces. And all of a sudden, the sales department decided that, hey, we'd like to get some of these, 5,000, 10,000 piece orders, and that'll really fill up our production schedule. And I had 75 production floor employees, and it was like watching Keystone Cops for anybody that knows what that is. It was 75 people tripping over each other, trying to figure out how to do a 1,000-piece order, because they were so good at setting up, printing 72 pieces, tearing it down, setting up another one. I mean, that was our niche. We were just really, really good at keeping those presses running. But with 1,000 pieces, it was like everybody forgot how to print. So that's my example of taking a look at yourself and saying, what am I really good at? And now, so where are more of those 72-piece orders that I could go out and get? That sort of thing. And when you talk to Aaron also about getting somebody in from the outside, there was one point in time where I belonged to a peer group, and that peer group I think there were 8 people maybe, and they were from all different industries. We were all running businesses, and man, it was so awesome to be able to sit at breakfast and once a month and talk about your business, and then get feedback from other people. And it's exactly what you were saying, Aaron. You're the customer. Those peer group folks were seeing me just the way the customers did, and trying to understand my business, and it was a huge growth opportunity. So if anybody out there is looking for that kind of feedback, I will guarantee you there are other business owners and business managers who would love to do the same thing. So I certainly recommend that sort of thing, or among your friends who are well, ideally entrepreneurs. Because if your friend is punching the clock, they're not going to have the same perspective on business as you are, but
Sure.
but I certainly recommend that as well.
Yeah. No, that's a huge point, Terry. I mean, there's systems out there like that. A one that comes to mind off the top of my head is the Vistage Group. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them or not, Terry, but I know Ryan Moore has been a big part of that from Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's talked a lot about how the Vistage Group has helped him. I know some other folks that have been involved with that, and that's basically what it is. It's a peer group of people. They get a group together that are all people on the same level. You know, there's owners groups, there's managers groups, there's all this kind of stuff, but they're all from different businesses. So that you may have a shirt guy in there with a contractor, with a service kind of provider like an attorney or something like that, and it allows you to kind of bring all these folks together to take a look, and they have those hard conversations. They look and they're honest with each other. Well, you're doing a really crappy job at this and you need to fix it, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, and Aaron, it gives you also the opportunity to talk about your business on a level that you don't necessarily want to talk to people within your business about. Maybe it's staffing issues or things like that. Yes, I'm all about open books, talking to your staff and getting their feedback. But sometimes there are issues that not necessarily appropriate with the folks who are taking those paychecks you're signing. Yeah. So this is a really great opportunity for that as well. And I want to add one more thing, Aaron, to this. In this evaluation, get out of your shops. It's so easy to say, no, I don't go to trade shows because I'm just too busy or this and that. There's a lot of opportunity out there, at trade shows and at seminars and events where you can really learn some great things about how to improve your business. So, don't lock the doors on your shop and just put your head down and print or decorate all day long and stagnate there.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point to get out there and get. Yeah, my wife is tired of hearing about my stuff. She can't be my sounding board all the time. I got to get out there and talk to other folks. She's like, just do it. All right. Before we move on here, Terry, Christine had shared a thought, and she's spent a lot of time at trade shows like the two of us. It's crazy to me how many people start a business without a plan. They'll be in a forum on a Facebook group or come to a trade show or ask basic questions. My feeling is if you aren't motivated to figure basic things out for yourself, you probably shouldn't start a business.
Excellent point.
That's and it's really funny, Terry. I'll let you kind of jump on here, but we are in that age right now where everybody has their own side gig and they're all looking for that magic bullet. There's a whole industry of, hey, I've got this business opportunity for you, and all you have to do is spend the $700 on this kit, and you can, from your pajamas, run a business. Pajama marketing. It's work. Business is work. If it was easy, everybody could do it. So anyway. But you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think one of the things about our industry is it's fairly easy to get into and for not a lot of money. I mean, some businesses, it's $100,000 to open the doors. And in our industry, you can start on a shoestring and have a real actual business. But, also, I think a lot of folks, when it comes to a business plan and where do I want to go, they're like, I don't know where to start. Well, as you're saying, Aaron, and this day and time, it's really easy to find resources out there to help you get started and give you those the stimulation of, okay, yeah, let me think about this point and this point and this point before I start my business.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, but one thing to note there, and we've talked about this on the show all the time. Yeah, you can go out there and there's all sorts of resources. But, anybody that's got a smartphone is now on YouTube sharing how to run their business. And so it's up, I think where people get themselves in trouble is, okay, I'm going to go learn. I'm going to go to this forum. I'm going to listen. And then you just take everything that these people are saying as like gold. And, you've got to figure out how it works for your business. And you have to take everything that everybody says, try to find what works for you, and realize that maybe something that works for somebody else won't work for you, or maybe something somebody else has done is really stupid. I mean, you see that on the forums all the time. It's like, really? And I don't want to jump in and get into an argument with somebody, let them fail on their own. But anyways, that's getting off the rails here. Let me just check the comments here real quick. Yep, there we go. What we were just saying, Terry. Christine says there's so much unrealistic information out there about what it takes to run a business. How many decoration business owners do we know who work 18 hours a day or every weekend or holiday? It's much harder than people think. So,
I often say this to people that being an entrepreneur gives you the freedom to work all the hours there are in the day, but hopefully you're doing something you love. So that's not a negative thing. But yeah, anybody wants to start a business just to get a paycheck, you're probably not going to succeed. There's got to be a lot more passion in it than that, and it's going to be work no matter what you do. In my DTG seminars, I always walk over towards the machine and say, "Now let me point out the magic button on the machine." And then I'm like, "Yeah, there isn't one." And it's the same with starting a business. There's no magic button. No. But and on the flip side of that, Aaron, by going out and trying to get all this information together, I think that people can get a little overwhelmed, and in the end, as in our industry anyway, it's really just about decorating and selling and marketing your product, and you don't have to get overwhelmed and do everything that these folks are recommending that you do. In the end, just go out there and and sell product to make a profit and keep moving.
Yep, exactly. I think that's a huge point, Terry, that you can overload yourself too in this. We're going to talk about business plans in just a little bit, so I think we'll talk more about that. But yeah, really good stuff there. So all right, well, let's keep going. We always do this, Terry. We look at the go, man, are we going to have enough here? And then I look down and it's 10:30 already, and
we've already done one question.
And it always works out. So
always
it's okay.
Works out. Yeah.
It's okay. All right.
Just sometimes it becomes two shows.
I think we can get this one done in one, but let's see how it goes. All right. So, what do you think about a business that looks around, sees a business they like, and then they attempt to exactly duplicate that model? What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, hey, yeah, you can do that, but there are no two businesses alike, and I have a lot of people ask me, they want a step by step on how to run their business, and step by step on how to price their product. And there's a really good example. The overhead's going to be different. In screen printing, if it takes you 2 hours to set up a press, and it takes this guy down the street who came to my class 5 minutes to set up a press, well, guess what? You have a different scenario there, and so, but there's always room. If you see a business, and maybe your kids are in dance, and you go, and every competition you go to, there's a company there selling products, and yeah, you think, I'd like to do that too. Well, that's perfectly fine, but duplicating what they do step by step is never going to work, because your scenario is always going to be different than somebody else's scenario. But in a marketplace like that, in a niche market, if you do good work and you deliver it on time, there's always room for somebody else in that marketplace. So that's my take on that one.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I pretty much agree with you there. I do think that it's, and important to really kind of have an understanding of what your competitors are doing. But I think probably just a human nature thing more than anything. We're tend to be competitive. We want to kind of have that, win and be better than the guy up the street, and I'm going to crush him kind of thing. And I think that's where the problem comes into play, is you look at it and you want to duplicate, you just want to do what they're doing, but you want to do it better. Well, maybe that's not who you are. Maybe,
right.
You just, like you said, it's not really your areas are different. Your setup time is different. Your process is different. You have a different way you go about things. So to me, understanding your competitors is important, but then taking that understanding and just putting it off to the side, and then using your business and what you're good at and you and your why and all those things as how you make your decisions. I've seen way too many companies out there that just kind of keep trying to chase the Joneses, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this has happened to me in some of the businesses I've been involved in. We're going along, things are going just fine, and all of a sudden the owner sees somebody else doing something and, oh my God, we need to get involved in that. Why are we not doing this? It's like, well, how about we just keep our eye on the ball of the thing that's making us a truck ton of money right now and not worry about what somebody else is doing. It's okay to understand that and to be talking to our customers, but don't go and change the complete entire focus of your business just because your competitor's doing something different. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And let's plunge forward because I don't want to miss any of these these points that we've been
real quick. Sure. Say proactive, not reactive. I think that's a pretty good way to sum up what I just said. So, see, that's why we can't have Eric on. We'd be done already. I talk forever. He's just going to say.
He said it in 4 words.
Yeah, jeez, come on, Eric. Just kidding.
You know what? I did see Eric out in Long Beach this past week. He was actually like 5 booths over from me, so we didn't get to talk very much. But I know he was disappointed like me because that's NBM's big rap show. And I know I've prepared my freestyle, and Eric as E-Rich, I'm sure he was hoping he'd be able to do some rapping too, and it was entirely different thing, Aaron. It was
entirely different, huh? Different. Do you still have your freestyle? Is that something you'll be willing to share with us on the podcast today?
Maybe at the end of the show if we have a little time.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get to it then.
You understand that I'm now stretching everything I say.
Exactly. Well, here we go. Let's stretch a little bit more. Eric says consistency matters, and you can't be consistent if you are blowing in the wind. I think
that's where the answer is, my friends.
It's just blowing in the wind. No. It is a really good point, though. The blowing in the wind or chasing your tail or chasing something all the time. If you don't have a plan, which, hey, let's move on here, Terry.
Yeah, let's talk about that plan. Aaron, you've talked on this show lots of times about a business plan, but talk to us about the importance of and how the heck do we accomplish creating this business plan? Yeah.
And the business plan part of it here, to me, is that's the best way to put this. I mean, we've all heard the phrase that an owner, manager should be working on the business, not in the business. And what that means is that you need to be working on the bigger parts of your business, the strategy, the implementation, the big picture stuff. The working in your business is the day-to-day stuff, taking the orders, answering the customer service questions, printing, producing, taking the trash out, all of the things that have to happen on a day-to-day basis to make your business tick. So a business plan to me is the working on your business. It's the part of it that is important for us to step away. You made a comment earlier to get out of your shop. And I think whenever you're working on your business plan, it is ideal to get out of the shop, to turn off your emails, to, schedule an hour a week out of the office, or at least behind a locked door, to work on your business. So that's, to me, what a business plan is. I think some people get caught up in business plans are all about, I have to have this really beautiful, clean document that I'm going to hand to the bank. And, it's more of a marketing piece than anything like that. And that's not really what a business plan is at all for a successful business. A business plan to a successful business is more of a living, breathing, working document. It could be a notebook, in Terry's case, a yellow legal pad that is just full of stuff, and then you keep referring back to it. Or, I like to use Google Docs and just kind of work from that. And it's a massive ideas, and then I try to come back and bring those massive ideas into a better formatted piece that I can actually then go out and share with the other people that are part of my business, if that's the case. So to me, that's what a business plan is. How to do it, like I said, you just got to do it. people spend way too much time on the strategy part of business. I've got to really come up with this big overarching strategy, and we're going to do this, and 5 years from now we're going to be doing this. Okay, it's great to have goals and things you're going to shoot for, but the implementation portion is way more important. How are you going to be excellent at your business each day, and what are the plans to do that? So really specifying who you are, what's important to you, what are your core values. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about kind of the soft skills, the people skills, but I thought this was really interesting. So the story goes, there was a big pharmaceutical kind of company, and they were talking about hiring and what their core values were. And the way they did it is, even if this was some big, huge PhD that the owners and the higher ups really wanted and thought was perfect, and their skills were going to be great for the company, they also had what they called running the gauntlet, where these were short 15-minute interviews with the receptionist, the low-level finance people, just the day-to-day workers. And they had to get through these 15-minute interviews with all of these people. And any single one of those people could have said no because they didn't fit their company culture, basically. So basically, they don't want to hire a-holes, and they need everybody to be able to get along. So
that should definitely be part of your plan.
But like I said, they could have all the skills, they could have the degree, they could have all these things, but that was part of their business plan. This was the part of working on their business that was important to them. So they defined their culture, and then they figured out a way to implement always having that culture. And it was about the people. So to me, how to do a business plan is to just work on it all the time, growing, working, breathing. There's all sorts of different things you can find on the internet as far as like formats and things to go off of. But I don't know if that's even that important. I think what's most important is that you are working on it all the time. It's something that everybody in your company knows where it's at, can go reference from it, and you use it to make all of your important decisions. So that's my take. What about you, Terry?
Well, and I love what you said about doing this for the bank, and you see a lot of people doing that. What does the bank want to hear, and has zero to do with what you really want to do. And when I think about a business plan, part of it for me is imagining it's on a transparency. And every time, for instance, the shop I was talking to you about, where all of a sudden these 1,000, 5,000 piece orders come up, and I hold my transparency up to that, going, that is not anything like what our plan was, and so it kind of keeps you on course having this business plan. And Aaron, you also mentioned sharing with the staff, and that is so incredibly important. That everybody's opinion's important. And I will often say, because my background is production management, and I always tell, especially owners and senior managers who kind of lost touch with the production end, that nobody knows better how to run this production operation than those folks out there running it. So let's give them an opportunity to share that information all the time. And then one of two things: you either implement what they recommend, or if you don't, please take the time to stop and tell them why. Because when people start making suggestions about your business, and it feels like they're being ignored, that you're just going through the motions because you read it in a business management book, then they're going to stop giving you those suggestions. So it's a two-pronged approach. Either do what they recommend, or explain to them that, hey, right now this isn't going to work for us, and here's why. But keep coming to me with your ideas.
Yeah, and a lot of times if you present that in a way that's really positive, that they are going to go, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. And they're going to be spending time now thinking about ways to improve their suggestion. People don't want to be rejected. And so if you reject them and just kind of go away from it, like you said, they're just going to be done. They're not going to, I'm not going to put myself in that place to be rejected again. But if you have an open conversation with them, explain to them why it won't work, and then be open to them coming back with changes to their suggestion, you will always get that great feedback. And like you said, Terry, the people that know best about what's really happening in your business are those people on the front lines of either the production or talking to the customers or whatever area you're working on. So,
and you know, Aaron, if you are, first of all, ignoring what they say, second of all, just, I don't want to say it. It's got to be a positive work environment and give and take, and if people feel like their opinion doesn't matter, it's going to be such an ill effect on the business as a whole. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't want to ramble on too long here, because look at us, we're right on
that wrap. We got to get to that wrap. No,
get to the wrap. Yeah.
All right. Well, there are some great comments though, Terry. So I want to pause. This one's just fun. Christine says, "Thanks, guys. Now I'm going to have blowing in the wind, earworm all day. How many roads must a man walk down?" That's good.
Glad to contribute to that.
All right. There's a good one here. Vic Autry from iPersonalized shared with us in the movie City Slickers, Billy Crystal and Jack Palance, and I'm sure I bet I am really bad at names. When do I? Okay, good.
Jack Palance, you got it.
Palance, all right. Who plays Curly? Curly advises Mitch to discover one thing in his life which is the most important to him, which will solve all of his problems. You just have to do one thing well for success. I think that's a really good point there. And Todd shared when I was talking about, kind of having the business plan being a living, breathing, fluid type document. Todd said another new, quote, iPhone type product could come and change the way the world works. So we have to stay fluid. Agreed 100%, Todd. Thank you. And Christine shared a lot of business owners underestimate how much a company culture matters. Finding people who can help build that culture in a positive way is important. So.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's another thing as well along those lines, Aaron, is you've got to allow those people to make decisions. You've got to allow them to make mistakes without coming down on them. And if you do that, then all of a sudden that your business takes on a life of its own, and people are contributing, and they are making your dream come true by allowing them to be a part of the decision making process.
Absolutely. I think, in fact, it just made me think, Terry, reference back to your 5 things you did not too terribly long about 5 things to not being a micromanager.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if you can not do those 5 things, I'll have to go back and reread it. But I think that's probably what we're talking about here. Let those folks be independent and part of the process.
My tongue-in-cheek book idea that I have for business is how to micromanage your business to success.
Very nice.
I have to keep kicking around ideas for it.
Man, we got a lot of books to write. We got that one. We got we're going to work with Jennifer Cox on the behind-the-scenes trade show book / TV show all right. All right, Terry. Well, next question. We got 2 more here, and of course, we're going to go into bonus time. Why wouldn't we? And we're going to miss the wrap, so that's a bummer. But
maybe next week.
Here we go. Hold on one second. This is a good one here. Lenora Lewis said, "No matter the biz or organization, being positive and upbeat is essential. Negative Nancy's will kill all." Very good point. Very good point. All right. So it actually leads in really well to the next question, Terry. Let's talk about building the image the customer sees. I assume we'll be talking a little bit about social media here, but let's go.
Always ends up there, right? Well,
Yeah.
And I talk a lot about when I'm talking to new business owners about that image, and the first thing I tell them is you're always promoting your business and everything you do and everything you say, and down to as little as your business card, because guess what? Most of the people we work with are never going to walk into our shops. They're have a professional business card. Things like the box that you deliver your product in. I'm always telling people, all your competition is going to put all those shirts in printer folds and throw them back into the box that says Sanmar on the side or whatever. And don't do that. Individually fold your product, put it in a poly bag, put a sticker on it. Make sure your name is on the box, that sort of thing. You always need to be promoting your business to be what that vision is in your mind, and your customer is going to see the image of your business as in the way you promote it, and so they might imagine that you've got 100,000 square foot facility you're printing out of, and guess what? You're printing out of your basement. But it's all about the image you present to the end user. But Aaron, why don't you talk a little bit about the social media aspect of that image?
Yeah, I'll cover that, and I'll talk a little bit about social media and come back and let you talk a little bit about social media from your side. But I wanted to actually start, Terry, with just like a couple of stories that stand out to me when it talks about building the image that the customer sees. And this one's going to be kind of a little outside of our industry, but you think about so I'm going to talk about the airline industry here real quick, and think about the image that you think of when you think of airlines. And for the most part, it's a fairly negative image. Now, some companies have done a lot better job of it than others. And I think we could all probably feel like Southwest has actually really worked hard on their image of being, happy. People love to work there, all of these real positive things, right? I mean, I'm sure you would argue a little bit because you're a big American fan, but image
Southwest doesn't have first class to get bumped to, so
every seat on Southwest is first class, Terry. Every seat.
Right, you are.
I'm just kidding. All right, but anyways, let's think about Delta versus Southwest, for example. So Delta's not had that great, feeling that people have about them. They haven't worked on their image as hard as Southwest has for the longest time. And you think about the backlash. I don't know if you heard about this, but there was a pet that lost its life on a Delta flight, and they took heat for a long time. It damaged their brand even further, and it just completely negative. Well, I don't know. We probably all heard about the Southwest flight, where a passenger actually lost their life by getting sucked out of the plane. I mean, that was a pretty scary, crazy thing.
Right.
Well, their brand didn't take a hit. In fact, Southwest went out and paraded their pilot around as a hero and really focused on, the lives they did save and all this other stuff. And to me, that just comes back to the brand that they've been building for such a long time, that they didn't take as big of a hit as they probably should have and nobody really was screaming too loudly about the potential for these things in the future. So anyhow, that's kind of a way big out there, that brand that they've worked so hard on. The same thing should go for our small businesses. What is that brand that we want to perceive every day? Somebody said, how long does it take to be excellent? And the answer is 1 minute. What are we going to do today, right now, to be excellent in what we're doing with our business? Like you said, go that extra mile, polybag the shirts, a box, throw an extra hat in there, just all the little things. One that hits close to home for me is, contractors are notoriously difficult to get on the phone or to have them respond or be timely. They're really good at the building side of it. They're really bad at the business side of it. And my wife and I are getting ready to do some kitchen renovations. And, we've had a lot of people in here with lots of different experiences, and we're not making our decision based on who's going to do the best work. I'm sure they can all do pretty similar construction kind of work. We're basing our decision on the person we felt most comfortable with because they showed up on time. They followed up. They looked professional. They didn't reek of cigarette smoke when they came in. Or
that herbal
house.
Cologne that you often smell.
Whatever the case may be. They when they walked in our house, they took time to put booties on or asked if they needed to take their shoes off. Just these little tiny things that they did to make themselves professional compared to their competitors. We're going to make our decision based on that, not based on is this guy gonna, and even price kind of goes out the window a little bit at that point. The person we're going with was actually a little bit higher priced, but they took the time to understand us, to understand what was important to us, and kind of go from there. So, those are all the little things from a perspective of the image that you're portraying that is important for you to do every day. Printing a great shirt and getting them out on time, and all those things are important, but do those other little personal human touch things too. So that's that part.
Aaron, let me throw something in there that to add to what you're saying there. I had somebody on the phone here this week, and when he answered the phone and heard who it was, he goes, man, your job must be so easy. And I'm like, really? Why is that? He goes, well, I asked for a sample from you, and I got it the next day, and it was beautiful. One of your competitors sent a sample. It was just horrible. I told them that. Well, let me try again, and the next sample, washed out. And then he said there's another competitor that called me 2 weeks ago and said, well, let me send a sample to you. And he goes, and it never arrived. And so I called them today and said, hey, you called me and said you wanted to send me a sample. And the response was, let me check on that. And the person I was talking to said, really, don't bother doing that, because you called me and offered it to me and just never did it. It's not really hard to be successful. It's like you were saying, just follow through and do what you say you're going to do, and do it as best you can. And trust me, you will be doing it better than everybody else.
Absolutely. That's a great story there, Terry. Terry, here, I'm going to give you one that popped up here that also is about image. You want to read this one for us?
Yeah, it says, I was on a Southwest flight and helped out with a medical situation. I am also a nurse, though I don't work at it. I did not expect anything other than thank you. Southwest sent me a love voucher for a future flight. And Aaron, when you were telling that story, I was thinking the same thing. And says that it made me a loyal Southwest customer. And I thought, gosh, that is a great analogy, because you are right. I mean, I remember that person being pulled out of the plane thinking, what a horrible, accident. And on the flip side, Delta, my first thought about the dog dying is, well, here we go again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is all about image.
Yep. And it's all about what their culture is internally,
Sure.
When you talk to people that are flight attendants, for example, with Southwest, they do enjoy their job and they want to go there. You talk to people that are flight attendants on like United or Delta, they're just grumpy, angry people that hate their jobs. I mean, here's one. United is the airline I'd walk before I'd use. Yeah, anyhow, we're going to go way down a rabbit hole. And so
I miss America West.
Yeah, America West. Some people used to call them America Worst, but I loved them. So
I loved them too.
All right, Terry. Well, you mentioned social media. We haven't touched on that at all here. So let's real quick touch on that too. I think this is a big part of your image in today's world. I mean, think about how often we make purchasing decisions on just about everything in our lives based on the comments, the feedback. You go to Amazon and you look at the customer reviews, or on Facebook, what are people saying about this company? How many stars do they have on their business page as far as their ratings? And so Southwest, social media is a huge part of this. Social media is basically not our voice as the company. It's our customer's voice for us as a company. And I think if you use and you look towards social media for being that, I talk a lot in my marketing seminars about giving people the opportunity, helping them with the opportunity to share what you've done for them on social media. So they come in to pick up their job for the 5K. Take a picture with them, share it with them, let them know what your social media accounts are. They're going to want to share that. They're going to go over to their 5K page and they're going to say, shirts by Terry Combs Printing. And we loved it. The experience was great. Enjoy this beautiful shirt you're going to be wearing after our event. Those kinds of things. So social media to me is all about giving your customers a voice to talk in a positive manner about you. And then on the flip side of that, social media can be a little bit of a double-edged sword, because it does also give your not so happy customers an opportunity to voice their concerns about what happened. A lot of the stuff that I work with, people do business through Jane or Etsy and some of these things, and the reviews are huge for them. It's the most important thing. Even if the review is completely out of bounds, they go on above and beyond to make sure that that customer becomes happy. And to me, it's important when you get those negative comments, how you respond to it. It's not about pushing it under the rug. It's not about trying to get it to go away. I think it's about replying in an honest fashion, being genuine, not being defensive, but being honest. And okay, did we make a mistake? Maybe we did. How can we help? What can we do to make this right for you? And then doing those things and following through with them. A lot of times I bought things based on some of the negative comments, because I read it and I go, well, that person is completely off their rocker. This company stepped up, did the right thing, said the right thing. So I know if I have a problem, they're going to be there to help me and go forward. So to me, that's social media in a nutshell. It's all about that conversation that your customers are having, nothing else. It's not about selling. It's not about any of those things. What about you?
Aaron, and let me throw in there also that when you say to a customer, what can I do to make this right? They usually ask for much less than what you were thinking you were going to give them to make it right. Sometimes it's just the smallest thing. They just want you to, they just want to hear that you want to make it right for them. And so, don't be afraid to say that, because some companies are, okay, here's what I'm willing to do. And then all of a sudden it's like a bidding war.
Yeah. In fact, I had an experience, Terry. I think you remember this at DAX, Minnesota this year. I flew in. I had a hotel in Minneapolis that first night, and I could not get picked up at the airport by their shuttle service. They confused me with somebody else that was being a pain in the butt. And the person working the desk that night actually hung up on me. And then when I called back, picked up the phone and hung up again. And I went, I was floored, absolutely floored. And the next, I posted my story on all their social media and everything like that, and was very clear about everything that had happened. And the next morning I got a call from their general manager, and he was like falling all over himself, apologetic. And he asked me, he said, what can I do to make this right? And I said, you called, you apologized. If you'll give me my money back, I will remove all of my comments, my negative comments right now. And he said, absolutely. Is there anything else I can do for you? And again, he was thinking I was going to probably ask the world of him, because it was a pretty bad experience.
Right.
But he stepped up, apologized, took responsibility for the situation. I asked for my money back because I didn't actually use the room there, and that was it. So again, I think, in fact, Christine says transparency is key for handling negative comments.
Absolutely. And Aaron, I remember you having that experience and how livid you were when you arrived at the casino where we were doing our presentation. So.
Yeah. Terry, before, I know we got one more thing to get here too, and I know we're already in bonus time, but I think this is a good question. I'd like us to answer. You want to take a crack at it first? What about random people who give 1 star and have never used you?
Well, that's that. You first of all, it's difficult to tell your side of the story. My feeling on that is the more you sell, the more wider reach you have. You're going to have those, and my feeling is, you just have to have a lot more positive ones than negative ones, and that's going to happen. And we've all had that customer just. And when they tell their side of the story, they leave a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, exactly.
the part where they did what they did wrong. So, my feeling is you just have to have a lot more positive response than negative, and it'll all even out in the end.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you, Terry. That's really important. I think what Christine said, transparency is key, is probably really good too. Like I mentioned earlier, I've made some purchasing decisions based on negative comments before, just based on the reaction and the response. So, what I would say, Lenora, is go to that review, ask, I'm sorry that you had this bad experience. Please let us know what happened. We don't find you as a customer of ours in our system. So maybe, so just be really open and transparent about what's going on. You're going to make them look silly, and there's a good chance it's a competitor or somebody just being stupid.
Yeah.
And, be transparent, be open, and just tackle it head on. And then leave it there. This is one thing I see people do all the time. Like if you have where people can put reviews about your products on your website, there's an option to kind of review those and delete them. I never do that. I put every single one up there, bad, good, or indifferent. Just put them up there, and again, if you can respond to them and then go from there. So.
Aaron, let me get, I know we're in bonus time, but let me give you another example that happened so during the past year. Someone had actually posted Equipment Zone. We go out and do training with all of the people who buy machines, and somebody posted a really negative response about the training and went point by point through what happened in the training. But somebody else responded to it, total stranger, who said, it looks like they did exactly what they told you they were going to do. And the fact that you don't know how to use Photoshop isn't the fault of the trainer. And I thought, sometimes it's just random people out there that'll respond and go, well, wait a minute. I get you're not happy that you don't know how to use Photoshop, but you went step by step and said they did everything that they told you they were going to come and do. So strangers out there can help us out like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, your customers and people, like I said, strangers can be the best salespeople for you and
Sure.
can come to your aid. Just real quick, continuing on this review thing here, but no review, just a person out of the area. To me, I'd still say respond to it. Put it out there, make them fess up to who they really are,
Yeah. And people will also see if they don't respond back to you, people go, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. We're smart enough that we understand when somebody's trolling you, or when a competitor's being a jerk, again, don't get defensive. Don't try to attack back. Just be honest and be empathetic. So
Exactly.
All right, Terry. Let's wrap this up with last.
Yeah, very last question. How do you?
We'll go quick.
Okay, how do you measure success?
All right, success. I think measuring success is completely, and to me, this is really what's cool about business. Your idea of success versus my idea of success can be completely different things, and so my business could be completely different than yours, Terry. And I can sit there and you could look at my business and go, oh my God, that looks terrible. Oh, he's not making any money. They're not growing. They're not. And I could be sitting here going, I'm making enough money to pay my bills. I have happy employees. I am doing what I love. I am successful. So to me, that's how you measure success. You figure out what it means to you. You may want to involve the rest of your people that are there. Maybe the workers are looking for somewhere where they can grow and the business is going to be growing and all this other stuff. And you need to be honest with them about what your measure of success is. But I think key term there is to measure it. If it's how's the saying go? If it's measured, it's managed. So I think you need to define what success is to you and then measure that and not worry about what Terry's company up the street's doing.
Comparing with somebody
there's my
else.
take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree 100%, Aaron. And my quick response is first thing you have to do is define where you want to end up. And that's how you measure it. But if you have no definition of success, then I guess you never get there. Or but again, maybe that definition of success is I retain all my employees all through the year, and I have this this amount of sales, and that it depends on where you want to end up, and certainly don't compare yourself with anybody else, because you are unique.
Absolutely.
I think I should make a poster
with a cat on it, a cat poster.
with a cat.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Every single really great point we've made, Terry, we'll have a two regular guys cat, and
but he's hanging from a limb. We just changed the wording from hanging there, man, to something else.
Totally. Right. It's on. All of you designer folks out there, we expect to see some cat posters coming our way soon.
With the two regular guys logo. We'll send it to you.
Yeah. If you need it, let me know. I've got it in several formats. So.
All
right, Terry. Well, let's break for a quick commercial, and then we'll come up and wrap this up, and hopefully not be too much more into bonus time here.
Our show today is sponsored by Equipment Zone. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000 direct-to-garment printer. Equipment Zone is the only Epson reseller who sends a technician to every customer location for training. This is an absolutely free visit to your location. Equipment Zone is also the manufacturer of the #1 pre-treat machine in the industry, the Speed Treater TX. With no compressor and no special tanks, the Speed Treater TX is the easiest and most consistent pre-treat machine available worldwide. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000, the Speed Treater TX, and for all your DTG inks and supplies. That's equipmentzone.com. That's equipmentzone.com.
All right. And thanks to Equipment Zone for being our longtime sponsor right from the beginning of our broadcasting 6 years ago. And I wanted to remind folks that there's going to be a DTG Academy, a 2-day event in Phoenix, Tempe, Arizona. And that's going to be September 21st and 22nd for Equipment Zone. And Aaron, it's time for It's 5 Things, and you are up.
All right. Well, let's do this here. Hold on one second. I'm doing a couple things on the board over here. All right, perfect. So 5 things, 5 short-sighted views of business you need to stop having today. Number 1, business is a win or loss proposition, and you must win at all costs. You must beat your competitors into submission. That is no way to actually do business. Collaboration, worrying about yourself, those are the important things. Number 2, everything has to be a big secret. We play everything close to the vest. I've got all these secrets about my business that nobody else can know, and those employees, they just need to do their job. So that's another one to stop doing. Number 3, having restrictive contracts, NDAs, attorneys on retainer to defend your content. All of these things are a huge waste of time and money as far as I'm concerned. It certainly makes sense to have some things, but you probably should spend more time entering into business relationships with people that you can trust, so you don't have to worry about having all of these things, and just work together and make things clear up front without having to have crazy contracts and NDAs and et cetera, et cetera. Number 4, that you can't compete with the big guys or the guys up the street. You don't have the ability to do that. I think you need to get rid of that view right now. You are awesome. You are excellent. You do things your way, and you need to go out and own that, not worry about what Amazon's doing or whoever. Number 5, not valuing your wider partner base. These would be people like vendors, other collaborative companies, supporters, good customers, people that contribute to you. There's way more value in those things than you realize. A vendor is not somebody that you're just there to beat up and try to get the best price out of. Other competitors or potential collaborative companies can be huge for you, and the people that support you, that give you things, that are sharing your content, sharing your stuff. You got to value those people. They will go away if you're not careful. So there we go.
Those are excellent, Aaron. And when you said about having a big secret, it reminded me of when people come to my classes or seminars, and I can't tell you what my niche market is because I've got the greatest T-shirt idea ever and no one's ever done it before. My response is always, no, you don't. Nothing wrong with you having your great idea, but somebody else is doing it. But those are really good. So Aaron, so to wrap up the show here, what events do you have coming up?
Real quick here, back to I took last week off because I was doing some traveling with the family, but back to the Small Business Saturdays, 10:30 tomorrow morning. I will be over at facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info and just doing a little question and answer on some stuff, back to school items, number of different things. So bring your questions and love to answer those for you. And then next Thursday, Terry, you and I at 2 p.m. will be discussing finding new niche markets because you're a digital decorator. So get on over to sgia.org to sign up for that webinar. It's 2 p.m. Eastern on August 16th. And then I've got 2 sessions going on at SGIA in October 17th. I will be part of the Essential Small Business Strategies session. It's a 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. the day before SGA show floors open, and I'll be talking about marketing your business online. And then on Friday, October 19th at 10:30 a.m., I will be presenting digital marketing, growing your business with social media and email marketing. What about you, Terry?
Aaron, next weekend, not this coming weekend, next weekend, August 18th and 19th, I'll be in Chicago doing my complete screen printing business course with Atlas Screen Supply. August 22nd, I'm going to be back doing an all-day Epson seminar at Secaucus/Meadowlands/New York City NVM. They can't quite figure out what to call it.
Yeah.
It's outside of New York City, everybody. And the 2 days after that, August 23rd and 24th, I'll be exhibiting with Equipment Zone at the NVM show in Secaucus. September 8th, I'm going to be doing an intro to direct-to-garment seminar at the ISS show in Orlando. That's going to be Saturday at 10:30. So I hope to see you guys there. All my upcoming events for 2018 are on my website, terrycombs.com, and under the tab tour dates.
Awesome. All right. Well, Terry, we have come. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Eric is going to be teaching at NNEP Embroidery and Digitizing Conference in Indianapolis on the 13th and 15th of September. So get over there to nnep.com and check that out. Terry, close of another show. Finally, we got there. Only 15 minutes over.
And I truly did. Yeah, I truly did think, do we have enough information for this show? When will I learn? We want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell with Deco Network. You can also find Eric at ericcampbell.com. And also like to thank our sponsors, the Specialty Graphic Imaging Association and Equipment Zone. And I just want to say we appreciate your support.
Yeah, outstanding. Yep. And next week we're still working on the show, but we are going to, at least for a little bit of time, have Marshall Atkinson and Tom Rowan in to discuss their upcoming project, the Shirt Lab, I believe it is. And so we'll talk to them about what's going on there and bring you some other content too. So tune in. Until then, Terry, I think we're going to have a great week here.
Yeah, absolutely. Until then, he's Aaron Montgomery. I'm Terry Combs, and we are the Two Regular Guys.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.